Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks for your patience. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there because I had actually unmuted myself, but it wasn't working. So thank you very much indeed for your patience with that. And thanks to our three guests. I think today's session has been extremely enlightening and will obviously have to have an impact on our report. And it portrays and deals with a very grave aspect of Brexit. I actually agree, of course, we all agree with Senator O'Donnell's initial thesis that Brexit is just one of the great tragedies of our times. But I suppose, to use that awful cliche, we are where we are, and we have to try to cope with it. I think what I was anxious to do here, Chair, is to give you an illustration of where this could have real impact. I live in the town of Baileyborough in County Cavan, and one of the best employers in that town is Lakeland Dairies. It's a very large employer in the town. It's quality employment. Many kids' educations and many mortgages are, if you like, depending on it and riding on it. And it's the entire commercial life of that town and the wider community depends on it. About 46% of the milk coming to that co-op, or I'm not exactly sure of the figures, but well on to 50% of the milk comes across the border. So you have the question that, and it manufactures the various powders and Emmett's cream, etc. So the rules of origin issue would apply there. That's a stark example. And Monaghan, the town of Monaghan Co-op would be another stark example. And I presume potentially impacted here as well is Glanbia, which is a major plant in Virginia and County Cavan. All of the food processing is such a crucial, it's the great employer in that region. It's the major employer and the quality jobs are there. So I just thought I'd illustrate the serious impact, potential impact of this there. And I suppose, again, it'd be interesting. I know it's very difficult for you to analyse, but we don't want to even contemplate failure. But assuming failure, again, I would say to you, how do you see those kind of co-ops continue their business, assuming we didn't succeed, but we're not working on the premise that we won't succeed. Now, obviously, there should be changes in rules of origin at EU level. And I mean, I support that, and I would be hoping, Chair, that when we get to the report stage that we'll be incorporating that. I would like to think we would implement or have the committees under the Trade Cooperation Agreement, the TCA, the committees there should be up and running and active. It struck me very forcibly listening to Dr. Mike Johnston from the Northern Ireland Dairy Council that people like him should be very directly influencing and advising the political leaders in Northern Ireland in their approach to the protocol. And I would nearly go so far as to say it would appear from this vantage point that the political leadership there are out of step with the sectoral interests and with the trade organisations, and are out of step with people like your own organisation, Dr. Johnson. And I don't know if you wanted to comment on what you might be able to do to rectify that, and we have a role, obviously, at all intergovernmental levels as well. But to get your view and to get the stark reality for real people in real income situations, in real living situations, to get that onto the agenda and to take the sort of the emotional politics out of the debate around the protocol, to get it down to the kind of clinical hard facts and what it would mean for the lives of real people would be very, very good. And you might comment on how we could go about achieving that. The veterinary agreement, I take the point, if I understand it correctly, the veterinary agreement is not relevant to today's discussion, but that the veterinary agreement would too be a huge factor in resolving the entire issues around Brexit and agricultural exports, but in more particularly, I think, to the UK in that incident. So I suppose, basically, I think the points you raise and the issues you raise are very real, and I know how real they are for our area, etc. And I suppose, insofar as you can direct us further, it's what specific actions we can take. I know this is a common theme in the questioning, but where can we come in, not only in terms of our report, but within our respective political parties and within the Parliament, how can we influence, bring about a situation where you get the committees going on the DCA, where you get the protocol properly negotiated in practical terms, and where you do change the rules of origin at EU level. It's a bit disappointing to hear that it's almost an article of faith for them, if I understand it correctly earlier, that they're not movable on it. So maybe you'd come back to commenting on that and how immovable are they, and can we do anything there? But thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. The people that a community I come from in Cavan Monaghan would be very disappointed if I didn't make the point that real lives, incomes, futures of families, mortgages, education, everything's contingent on this in that community. This is not an abstract academic kind of discussion for the people from my community. And thank you for the opportunity. Thanks.